Hey, welcome to episode 16. I'm going to teach you how you can change the meaning to an experience which will change your life. Get ready
I'm ready.
to expand
Expand what?
your mind.
Oh yeah.
Step into your greatness.
Let's do this. Welcome to the Perpetual Calling Podcast. A podcast to help you to expand your mind and step into your greatness. We're going to do it all. Interviews, challenges, trainings, all here on a weekly basis. And here's your host, Anthony Payton. Yeah, that's me.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us today. That's right. I'm going to teach you the meaning we give an experience and how we can change that, can change your life because, well, an experience is just an experience. And based on our values and beliefs and the way we look at the world, everyone has a different experience. So no matter what you're doing, the experience will be different. And then from the experience is the meaning and the story we give to the experience, which is based on our beliefs and values. Does that make sense? You're probably kind of confused right now, kind of going, what is he talking about? Experience, values, beliefs? What are beliefs and values? What do you mean meaning, story we give an experience? Well, I'll give you a bit of a metaphor here. So, you've seen the Titanic, the movie, and you most likely know the story, how it hit an iceberg and it sunk. See, a lot of people there'll be A's and B's by the story they tell you what happened and how they feel about it. See, some people may look at that and think, just say it's the people, the A people. People may see that experience as a learning, as something good, and they're really grateful that they survived. See, they're looking at the positives, how they survived and they learnt something, they had an experience, and now there could be the B side. And the B people will be looking at it as a bad experience. They weren't happy at all. They're like really regretting going on that trip and they're not even looking at the positive sides that they survived. See, so you got the A and B, and the experience was the same. It didn't change. It's the beliefs and values and the look on life is the difference from the people, the A people, and the B people. So when we change our beliefs and our values, we change the meaning and story we have to that experience. So our beliefs, where do our beliefs come from? So most of our beliefs are actually instilled in us from a child. See, up to the ages of 7, our brain is basically run from our unconscious mind. So everything we learn, everything we hear, like yeses and nos from whoever, and don't do this, don't do that. The beliefs that we have, that we learn then, are with us for life. That's unless we go out and purposefully change those beliefs. And so those beliefs that we have from childhood can give us the meaning we give to an experience, no matter if it's good or bad, because an experience is just that, an experience. So when we have an experience, we delete and distort and generalize that experience, and based on the involvement we have. So there's millions of bits of information coming at us at a time. Right now, there's millions and millions of bits of information coming at you right now. And if you were aware of every single thing coming at you right now, you most likely wouldn't survive. You'd be so stressed and anxious that who knows what would happen. And so based on our beliefs and values, we distort and generalize everything that's happening to us to help us survive and really have things in our life that we value and that we want in our life. And so just imagine looking around you now. Imagine if you were aware of every single thing around you right now. The little light blinking at you, all the little things on your computer if you're at a computer, every single bit of text and everything on your phone, or everything around you right now, every single little thing, if you're aware of everything right now, how would that make you feel if everything was just coming, oh, there's that, there's that, there's that, there's that, there's this, there's that. You'd be just stressed and anxious. So that's what I mean when we say our beliefs and values, we distort and generalize our experience. So I want you to think about an experience that you've had and that you might be looking at it at a negative way, a way in which you could look at it in a different light, a positive light, something which would be more beneficial to you instead of looking at it in, maybe you're looking at it in a negative way. And so if you look at Steve Jobs, when he got fired from Apple. So he got fired from Apple when he was 30. And what had happened is he started Next, a computer software, targeted at more business-minded people, not so much the family side. And he also became a majority shareholder of Pixar. And they made the cartoon Toy Story. And that was actually the first 3D animated film ever. That was in 1995. And so I remember seeing an interview over the last few days of Steve Jobs where he said that if he didn't get fired from Apple, then Pixar or Next would never have been created. It wouldn't be around. And imagine that. Imagine if Toy Story wasn't around. If you're around my age, like 35, you're looking back to then and Toy Story was one of those films that was like my favourite cartoon as a kid. So imagine our childhood. How terrible would that be without Toy Story? No, but yeah. So as you see, Steve Jobs looks at the positive side of it. See, he has that experience, but based on his beliefs and values, the story he gave to that experience was positive, not negative. So he could have looked at that experience as I'm sure which he would have at first, but now looking back at it, it's more positive. But he would have been, quite probably frustrated and angry, not just and maybe at himself and at the other people at Apple. But now, looking back at it, the experience is a positive one because he created Next and Pixar. And so that is experience equals your beliefs and values equals the meaning and story that you give that experience. And so it starts off with the experience as a child, and from that experience you get the beliefs and values and then the meaning you give to that. And so what we must do now is go in and change those beliefs and values, which will change the meaning of that experience, and which would equal to changing the meaning and story. And so any experience you have once you change these beliefs and values, which are similar to the first one you had, well, the meaning you give it will be totally different to the experience you had when that first happened to you when you were a child, because you've changed your beliefs and values. And so when you think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, think of Terminator and Terminator, and I can't think of it right now. But if you think of Sylvester Stallone, they were around the same era coming up, and he had Rocky and Rambo, and Arnie had like Terminator, and I can't think of it right now. But when they were coming up, I was watching a video just before. So each of them, when they were coming up, what they were doing is they were trying to beat each other. They were trying to be better than each other. See, Arnie wanted like bigger guns, bigger biceps. Then it's like Stallone wanted a movie with more action and more blood and more brutal than Arnie wanted the same. So they were battling each other, trying to compete against each other, and they didn't really like each other because based on their experience of actually wanting to be better than each other and their beliefs and values is getting their ego in the way. Oh, I'm better than you. I'm going to be better than you. And the meaning and story they gave it at the time was I'm better than you. Then when Sylvester Stallone actually went into a movie and his agent said to him that, Arnie's probably going to do this role. It's an American cop. Maybe you should jump in. And then Stallone was like, no, he can't do that. He doesn't have an American accent. And the agents kept on going, no, it'll be amazing. Do it. And so he ended up doing it. And the movie was a flop. It was a flop. And so from this, the meaning that Sylvester probably put to that was, I'm not good enough. Arnie's so much better. And then Arnie did a movie which was a major flop as well. And then so Stallone was like, well, he's actually just like me, actually. We're very similar. We're pretty much the same. And so after realizing this, they actually started a bond together. They started to connect, and they really became best friends now. And all of this because they had similar experiences which changed the beliefs and values, which changed the meaning, the story they were telling each other of each other. So change your beliefs and values, which that's what happened. The beliefs that Stallone had when Arnie had a flop was, he's just like me. He's actually just like me. And that experience changed the beliefs and then ultimately changed the story, the meaning. And so now from that, they're actually best friends. They didn't like each other. Now they are best friends. And so, have you got an experience which, maybe you're competing against someone, I'm better than you, I'm better than him. Maybe you got a bit of an ego, and maybe you just need to see that everyone's related to you. Everyone's so much alike. Maybe this person is just like you. And so they're going through the same thing, and maybe if you understand that they're just like you, maybe it'll change the meaning story. But whatever it is for you, you change your beliefs and values, which will change the look on the experience, and ultimately the story and the meaning to that experience. So, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining us. And so that's experience equals the beliefs and values equals the meaning and the story you give to that experience based on the beliefs and values. So you change your beliefs, you change your values, you change the meaning you give to an experience. So that's it, guys. Thanks for joining us again today on Perpetual Calling Podcast. And we'll catch you again soon. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to head over to iTunes, rate us and review us. And we're also on Spotify and everywhere else. So get on there, have a listen, go through the training we got also from, I think it's episode 5 to 11 or 6 to 12. Jump on there, go through the training, and maybe you'll just change your beliefs and values in that training, which will change the meaning or the story you have to an experience. Thanks for joining. Catch you again soon. Ciao.
This has been a Perpetual Calling podcast. For more info about coaching with Anthony, come and join his community, The Limitless Warrior, at www.thelimitlesswarrior.com.